Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Horror in Minutes. Today we will talk about why Chucky is one of the best horror movie villains. Now in no way am I saying that the franchise is the best in horror, but it's undeniable that Chucky is very unique and not one-dimensional as some other horror movie slashers. The likes of Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees fought at things like this, because it's a lot of the same every single movie in their long movie list. Now firstly, let's talk about the 3 stages of Chucky. The first being Charles Lee Ray, where he's known as the Lakeshore Strangler. This version of him is just a normal guy who lives a double life of being a serial killer and a regular guy. Oh yeah, and he likes to kidnap pregnant women as shown in Curse of Chucky. He is subsequently chased down by Detective Mike Norris and shot multiple times. Before dying, he uses voodoo to transfer his soul into a good guy doll. This version of Chucky, which runs from Child's Play Run about to Chucky, is set on getting his human form back and getting out of the good guy doll. He fails to do so for the first 4 installments, being defeated in numerous unique ways to his arch nemesis Andy Barkley and that couple in Bride of Chucky. That leads into a third Chucky transformation, which is him just wanting to be a killer doll.
I'm fucking infamous. I'm one of the most notorious slashers in history, and I don't want to give that up. I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it!
Then he's pretty much stagnant for the rest of the franchise so far. Now I want to bring this up because there's a huge difference between the Chucky character to any other horror movie villain. Unlike horror movie franchises, Chucky's heart and soul mostly comes from one man. That man is Don Mancini. So unlike other slashers like the mentioned Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, they constantly shift and change the stories that make it hard to follow. That's the reason why those movies are harder to know which movie is which. That's the reason why Jason Voorhees' face never stays consistent, and they're always changing small details that build over time. Halloween just constantly changes the story of Michael, and there's so many timelines it's hard to keep track of what's happening. Unlike Chucky, where we have a clear, decisive story that never really changes. Curse and Chucky TV show, they still somewhat make sense, and it doesn't really change anything. Chucky is different as he changes and evolves as the movie progresses, and it's something very unheard of in horror. I can name a ton of horror movies that have just been recycled from ideas, and ones that just continue to do the same thing every single movie, but it's infinite at this point. Chucky is fully dimensional and can play a serious killer doll, as seen in Child's Play 1 to 3 in Curse of Chucky, or can be a little more comical of a killer doll, as seen in Bride, Seed, and Code of Chucky. With all that said, let's go through each Child's Play movie and go through his transformation as a killer doll. In Child's Play 1, Charles Lee Ray is gunned down and transfers his body into a good guy doll using voodoo. It's revealed later that he must transfer his soul into the first person he told his real identity to, who happens to be a little kid named Andy Barkley. As the movie progresses, we find out that Chucky is turning more human as time passes on. After he kills some people, Chucky is stopped by Andy with the help of his mom Karen Barkley and Detective Mike Norris, after being burnt alive and being shot in the heart, killing him. In Child's Play 2, Company Play Pals brings him back to life as he seeks his revenge on Andy. We find out that after Child's Play 1, Karen Barkley was admitted into a psych ward, leaving Andy alone. He's subsequently adopted by a family. He meets Teen Rebellion Kyle, who he grows a relationship with throughout the movie. Chucky later finds Andy and starts to kill again.
How's it hanging, Phil?
He holds Andy captive and takes him into the good guy factory, with Kyle following closely behind. He finishes his voodoo chant on Andy, but it's already been too long. In an act of revenge, he chases down Andy to kill him, but again he's unsuccessful, getting his hand chopped off and being blown up. In Child's Play 3, Andy is now 16 years old and with his adopted family killed, now attends military school. Chucky is again resurrected when his blood is used to create another good guy doll. Now before we get into the movie, this movie is regarded as one of the worst because it's really the same as the other two, and at this point a little redundant, even though I personally still enjoy this movie due to its amazing kills and set pieces. Chucky is now set on getting his soul into a different body in this movie. He realizes he doesn't need Andy, opting to reveal his identity to Tyler. For the 3rd time, Chucky fails in his voodoo chant, being shot and thrown into a huge metal fan. That's the end of the Child's Play trilogy. Don Mancini realizes that the story is getting bland and that he needs to change up the series after the lackluster ending in Child's Play 3. This brings us to Bride of Chucky, where the tone changes drastically from the Child's Play series. This movie is much more comical and meta, but it's a needed change for the franchise. The movie begins with Tiffany Valentine killing a cop and stitching Chucky right back up. After realizing Chucky can't change and that he wasn't going to propose to her, Tiffany locks him into a baby crib. He gets out and kills Tiffany, who was electrocuted to death. He successfully brings her back to life into doll form. They decide to work together and find a couple, Jade and Jesse, who want to run away from their life and start a new one. With some cash from Tiffany, they are tasked on taking the 2 dolls to New Jersey so Chucky could get his amulet from the corpse. The amulet allows him to transfer his body into any soul he desires. In the final act, Tiffany turns on Chucky after seeing how the couple is in love and that they both deserve to die with each other in hell. He kills Tiffany for the 2nd time, but right after is hit into his own grave. He's then shot multiple times and dies in his human form. The last scene of the movie ends with Tiffany coming back to life for a moment to give birth to their baby. After a part I missed to say, oh yeah, they had sex.
On a rubber. Look at me. I'm all rubber.
In Seed of Chucky, we pick up after the last movie. Glenn is usually the one shown in this movie, so I'm going to stick with that name while we talk about this film. In the beginning of the movie, we're shown that Glenn is basically an attraction at a freak show. Not liking being trapped in a cage, he leaves to find his parents after having seen them on TV. Glenn finds his parents and uses the heart of Damballa to wake Tiffany and Chucky up. They decide to transfer their soul into Jennifer and Redmond. Chucky jizzes into a cup and fills Jennifer up, which leads to a fast pregnancy. Tiffany kills Redmond after her urges beat the best of her, so they decide to use Jennifer's chauffeur instead. This is where Chucky gets so stressed out and decides that he doesn't want to be a human anymore. This whole arc of 5 movies just shows how much he's changed from the killer doll he was the past 4 movies. It's some really good character development. Tiffany doesn't want that though, and she breaks up with Chucky and leaves with Glenn to the hospital so that she can transfer her soul into Jennifer Tilly. Stops her from doing that and puts an axe in her head, killing the doll. Glenn has had enough and steps up and shows Chucky that he's the killer Chucky always wanted him to be. The movie ends where we find out that Tiffany was able to transfer her soul into Jennifer Tilly, while the double personality of Glenn and Glenda separated bodies. Now, See the Chucky box at the box office, stopping Chucky from appearing on the big screen for good. Curse of Chucky, which was released straight to DVD, have us following character Nika Pierce, whose mom mysteriously died, but we all know it was just our boy Chucky. Chucky is now fully a doll in this movie, which means he doesn't bleed at all. We find out Chucky is attacking his family because the mom of Nika was the one that Charles Lee Ray had kidnapped, which led to the chase down and death of his human form. We even find out Nika is disabled due to Chucky, who stabbed her mom in the stomach as she was pregnant. Chucky's motive in this movie is revenge, which I think really works in this dark Chucky movie. This isn't anywhere near the tones of Bride and Seed of Chucky, which I absolutely love. Nika puts up a good fight with Chucky and seemingly wins. The cops arrive and she's arrested and charged with the murder of her whole family, which obviously we all know Chucky did. In court, she's admitted to a psychiatric hospital after nobody believed the doll did the killing. This movie ends with Chucky's first win as he transfers his soul into Alice, who is the niece of Nika. This leads directly into the last Chucky movie in the series, Cult of Chucky, which follows the events of the previous movie. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention in the last movie, Chucky mowed himself to Andy Barclay, but he's just shot in the face and keeping as a statue for this movie. This movie takes place at a psychiatric hospital, which changes visual tone from the dark Curse of Chucky to this now bright white aesthetic. What changes more in this movie is the actual tone of the film. We go from dark and gritty to now bright and full of jokes Chucky. I personally think this is the worst movie in the franchise. A combination of bad acting, bad writing, and Chucky looking so cheap is the reason I couldn't get myself to really like this movie. Chucky finds Nika again and doesn't even try to kill her. He just messes around with her and wants her to kill someone in this weird plot. He ends up finally getting her. Oh yeah, and if you didn't know by the title of the movie, there's multiple Chuckies. I don't even like the multiple Chuckies in this movie. Chucky just looks so weak. Anyways, he transfers his soul into Nika's body as he walks out of the psychiatric hospital, and he's left trapped in one of the rooms, where we get a nice visual of all the Chuckies putting themselves back into place as the cops arrive. The movie ends with Tiffany and Chucky, who's in Nika's body, kissing and driving off, and another win for Chucky. Now I know this is a TV show and I've watched it. It's alright and not my taste of how I like Chucky, but again, I know a lot of people out there like it. He's really just goofy and doesn't really have an arc in the show, so that's why I'm not going to be talking about it in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Tell me what Chucky movie was your favorite in the comments, and have a good day. Bye.